everybody, and welcome to the Paragould High School Coaches Show. We are at 1812 Pizza, downtown Paragould, and we're sort of in between seasons here. We're just kind of getting into the winter sports, into basketball. We just finished football up, volleyball's finished up, and we want to mention a couple of things before we get started with tonight's guest. First of all, last night we had our first girls game on the Paragould Ram Sports Network last night, and we did have a little issue with YouTube, so those of you that were trying to watch on YouTube and didn't get any audio, we have that fixed now. So moving forward, all of our contests, we're going to be on the Paragould Ram Sports Network, which is part of YouTube, and we are looking for subscribers, trying to grow our subscriber base. We've got over 500 now, and the goal is 1,000. So help us out there by subscribing to our channel. And then we also have a new platform that we're also on, and that is the app on your cell phone, which is Team One Sports, and that's an app, and if you get this app, you will notice that it splits into college sports and high school sports. Once it splits into high school sports, it goes into each state, and if you look under Arkansas, thanks to Zach, he's got us well represented there, and you can find us in that platform. So if for some reason YouTube's not working properly on your platform, then you can check us out at Team One Sports, and so it's great to have that additional platform to hopefully reach all of the Paragould Ram fans, and we've got a lot of content coming during the basketball season that we just kicked off last night with the junior and senior high girls, and the senior high girls won last night, had a great performance against Rector. Junior high girls came up just a little bit short but played well, and then the 7th grade girls won last night, so congratulations to them. And so we wanted to mention that. We have finished up with football. We will continue with some of the football coaches as we go through the rest of the calendar year with updates on off season and thoughts about next year. But right now we're kind of knee deep into basketball, and tonight we're going to have sort of a couple of special guests that we wanted to highlight. And the first one that we've got is Aaron Ferguson, and Aaron has a tremendous story that he's going to share. And I want to set Aaron up with the idea that Aaron is really involved and is our lead on Peewee athletics in terms of coordination in the Paragould School District, and we're talking first and second graders, K through 6, involved in such things as intramural basketball. I think you're going to be doing some travel with basketball. You can help me out with that, and then also something called Esports, which is new that I didn't know anything about that Aaron's going to explain. But the setup of this is really kind of what Coach Gunn's talked about, Coach Watson's talked about, everybody's talked about, and that is really trying to create a program that starts early on, that's continuous, and so we have continued growth from start to finish. And I think everybody's doing a great job this year trying to work together, and it really starts with what Aaron's doing at the early ages. And he's going to talk a little bit about the role of parents and why this is so important, and some personal experience, and also what he's doing and some of the things that are going on with him that many of you out there probably don't know what's going on. I was enlightened by this as well. There's some really cool stuff going on. So Aaron, first of all, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
And tell everybody that's watching tonight on the Paragould Ram Sports Network a little bit about what you're doing, what you're involved with, and some of the things that are going on that people may not be aware of.
Well, what it is, it's trying to change the younger youth into becoming better athletes, but at the same time better humans for later on. So what we're really trying to do is make stronger kids. So when we do K through 6, we got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They're all going to be differently coached. They're going to be differently handled. 1st grade, 2nd grade, you really want to make it fun for them. And that's about it for 1st and 2nd grade. You want to teach them a little bit, but you really want to have fun, let them figure out what they want to do, and just get them around the atmosphere of that. But like 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, that is to the time that you still are learning, you're still having fun, but you're going to have to start learning how to progress your abilities. But the big thing for us is literally later on in life, letting these kids be strong kids. So we're trying to create strong kids, and what that will do is let the coaches that are 7th, 8th, 9th in high school, whatever, it's a little bit easier on them. So you're not starting from scratch at 7th grade. So that's really what we do.
Well, I mean, this is a really important part of the entire program at Paragould High School because we talked about this. The more exposure that kids get at a younger age to a different number of activities, then that really can help them to find out what their interests are and what they really enjoy doing, maybe what they don't enjoy doing so much. And we talked, and I want you to share this story about your dad because the importance of the parents in this role is so important, and I think that you told a story that was just tremendously motivational. I want you to share it with everybody about your personal story with that and how this translates, and I think can be a great lesson for a lot of folks out there to listen to.
Well, so our numbers have went up to 130 kids, so that is awesome. I mean, they were usually around 45 to 55. We're at 130, so we're getting out there and getting kids to come out and play. But the thing that really I got to stress with you is, as a parent, it is hard. As a parent, it does get hard taking your kids out. You got to work. You got to get home, feed them. I got 3 kids of my own. One's doing Nutcracker, one's doing gymnastics. One does 8th grade, or is 8-year-old, and then the other one's 10-year-old. They do baseball, basketball, football, flag football. They'll do everything. So the thing that really gets me going back is my dad had multiple sclerosis. And when I was a kid, I remember specifically him taking me to the field. And he would trip and fall. And I remember being like, what the crap? And next thing you know, he had a cane. And they never really told me what the situation was. I was just a kid. I was just doing what I do, you know. And it went to the point where he had a cane. Then went to a cane and walker to a walker and wheelchair. And then it went to a manual wheelchair to an electric wheelchair. And as a kid, you don't really think about it. You knew kind of like, man, there's something going on. But he had me in wrestling, he had me in indoor soccer, he had me in basketball, had me in football, had me in track, he had me in boxing. Anything I wanted to do, like literally anything. And he never, ever let me not feel that feeling of a no or excuse. Like, oh, well, you're not going to do that later. No, he did it because I wanted to do it. And I feel like I went to D1 when I was older, right? I played baseball, football, basketball, I did everything. But the thing that I look back at is like, I had good coaches, but if it wasn't for the starting point of my parents to push me and direct me, there's no way I could go to be a 7th grader, 8th grader, and do what I did when that was just the start of it. Because by the time you start 7th grade, 8th grade, yeah, you can get good. I mean, the percentages are not good, but there's that 1 or 2 that can do it. And you're like, man. But most of the time, that's because they're 6'8", or they can lift a house. They have just grace from God that is unbelievable, right? Mm-hmm. I was a normal guy. Yeah. I was 5'10". I had to put the work in, you know? So, yeah. So the thing about it is that does not happen if it wasn't for my parents and my family, pushing me and making sure I was at the games. And what that does, it comes back and revamps is we got 130 kids, but sometimes we still have teams with 7 players on it. If we're trying to build a program, okay, 130 is great. But we got to be okay as parents to understand where our kid is, because a red team, a blue team, a B team, an A team, it doesn't matter, because here's the situation. Some kids are going to be red team right now, and later on they might be B, right? Sometimes the blue team kid or B, they'll be an A team. And that's what we got to go. We don't know who's going to grow at this age. We just know that we got to keep pushing them and get the ability there for them to have a chance and turn them into dogs. We want these kids to be tough. I was tough coached, and it made me so much better, because I remember being in college and the coaches would not hurt my feelings. When they said something, I took it literally serious. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove them wrong. Yeah. And if it wasn't for me being coached tough, right? And everybody has personalities. Every kid has a different personality, and as a good coach, you got to know that, right? You got to direct by the personalities you get. But my dad, he was a big inspiration for me, and I will never be able to be grateful enough. Like, he passed away a couple months ago. I can't really tell him that now, but I think he knows. I'm a dad now, so I know.
Aaron, it's a sensational story, and you know I can relate to my own parents, and 30, 40 years ago things were a little bit different. We didn't have quite the competing interest for our time that you do now. We didn't have cell phones, we didn't have cable TV, and so many times after school we're going to go out and shoot hoops till it gets dark, or throw the football around in the backyard and play on the weekends and all that kind of stuff. And those are kind of times gone by, but at the same time, you develop those interests and those skills at an early age. And like you said, I think we've had a long history at our high school of coaches that will push you and encourage you to get the best out of your ability. But it does all start at these early ages, and one of the things that we're really trying to improve is that you said our numbers, whether it be our football program, our basketball program, baseball, anything, and boys and girls alike. And it's an opportunity, and I know that we talk about this, we spend a lot of time on athletics, but I mean, I'm a real firm believer that what you learn in athletics really helps what you learn in the classroom. And you learn some lessons, about yourself and about what you're capable of doing that you may not think you can do when you're pushed. And when you get tired, you don't think you can go anymore, and then the coaches push you a little bit more. And there's so many lessons you learn from a competition standpoint and how to deal with failure and how to deal with success, that these things are just so valuable that you add that on to what you learn in the classroom. And I think you leave Paragould High School with even a better, well-rounded background, that it sets you up for better opportunity for success when you leave.
See, my situation on that too is God has a path for everybody. Everybody has a path. There's no way for us to know it except to make decisions to lead you through the path, right? Mm-hmm. There's no way, if you work your hardest and give it your all, you're not in the path you need to be. Even if you don't think you need to be in that path right now, it ends up turning into something that you should do.
Right.
And sports has helped me realize that, because the failure you get, the positivity you get, right? It leads you to be able to connect yourself with what's right and what's wrong, and it puts you in life in a situation where you're good.
Yeah, you just learn so many lessons, teamwork
so
and
much.
Accountability, and so we could go on all night on that, and there's no doubt about it. Hey, tell us a little bit about what you had mentioned earlier about esports. That might be something that everybody's not familiar with. Talk a little bit about that and your involvement with that.
Esports is I'm an inside nerd when it comes to like collecting cards, gaming, but I'm an athlete through and through. That's all I've done. When I did it, I didn't mess with nothing else. But now I'm still competitive in a way that lets me do that stuff, and that kind of helps me. But so the esports, we have some kids that have a chance to shine. We're 6-2 right now. I think we're 17th. We just won today, actually, right before I came here. I thought it was going to be a little late. But we beat Truman today. They were 20th, and we were 21st, and we won. Now it says we're 17th. We got to wait till tomorrow to get the final results. But the cool thing about it is we're going to make the playoffs. Rocket League is tomorrow. We are sitting at 5-3. The top 64 teams make the playoffs out of like 160-something teams. Mm-hmm. So right now, Mario Smash, which is Wednesdays, we're sitting at 17th right now out of 160 right here at Paragould for Mario Smash. for the parents and everybody watching that goes, okay, I still really don't know what esports is. What's your best description of esports for somebody that's watching that says, I have no idea what you're talking about? What is esports? It's video games. It's video games, but you're playing other schools. So like we played Rogers this year, and how they do it, they don't do divisions. Like every school is literally the same. It doesn't matter how big you are, so you can play anywhere from Manila to Truman to, I think Tech's right there around our ranking right now in Mario Smash. Anybody. You can play schools, but it's cool for the kids that really, it gives them something to do. It opens up the competitiveness abroad from just sports.
How many kids do we have involved right now?
Right now we have 19, but esports is a little different. You know, no one really wants to. You can only have 3 on a team, so no one wants to really be on the second team really on esports when you can be working or playing chess or spelling bee. So that's just kind of how it is, because the same 3 is probably going to play every time. I mean, it's a video game, but we're sitting at around 8 kids that show up and they're there for us, but 3 and 3 play, and then we have a couple extra.
What is your vision of where the Peewee program and the kids that you're working with now, what would you like to see us get better at and progress, say, in the next year?
I want them to be dogs. I want them to be dogs. I want them to be strong. You can't take the dog out of somebody. I mean, you can train. I'm not joking. You can train a dog to do anything, and you can count on them. But you can't be soft. You can't do that. So A, I want to build the program as in numbers, but B, I want to have these kids strong. I want them to, when they look at somebody, there's no negative feeling. It's like, you better be scared because I'm coming.
Yeah, and I think when you're talking about strong, you're not just talking about physically, but you're talking about emotionally, mentally, and in the entire package.
Yep, the whole thing.
And again, those are skills that are really, really important and really kind of help set the stage for your success moving on after you leave PHS and into the real world and into college or wherever your life decides to take you. So I mean, those are really important skills, and thanks for sharing all that with us, and obviously a really important part of what's going on behind the scenes a little bit at the high school. That
I'm always the lower scene.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, you don't do nothing. I'm like, oh, I wish I could just. They don't say it, I'm saying if they did. It's just, I'm like, if you only knew. I get home at 9 o'clock all the time.
Wow.
Because listen, if I'm not working with other kids, you know who I'm working with? My kids.
Yeah.
My kids and their teams. I mean, it never ends. But I do know one thing: you have 0% to get anywhere if you don't put the work in.
That's right.
You can say 4%, go to college, whatever. Great, good stat, right?
Yeah.
But it's 0% if you don't put the work in.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know what to tell people. You know,
Well,
you gotta want it.
It's pretty obvious that we've got someone that is passionate and is in a really good spot to work with our kids. And so thanks for what you do, and
It's a call.
I think we're in good hands here, and I think all of the coaches and the administrators appreciate what you do and recognize how important this is for our entire school and entire programs moving forward. So thanks for sharing that. Best of luck, and keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to talking to you again down the road a little bit.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Aaron Ferguson, who is our Peewee Athletics Coordinator, among a few other things, and obviously an integral part of our program and does a fantastic job. And so we're going to transition now. We'll take a little break and come back here with Colonel Tim Norman in just a few minutes, so stay with us. Guest. Tomorrow night, the junior girls will be playing Marion And the junior boys are playing tonight. The junior girls will be at Doc Painter Court tomorrow night. We'll have the game for you tomorrow night. Then on Friday night, the senior high girls, are the junior high girls playing also? Just the senior high girls will be playing New Madrid, Missouri. So that'll be sort of a new school that hasn't been here in a long time to come visit. And so looking forward to that. And the boys played well at Manila last night. And speaking of that, Coach Watson wanted me to pass along the idea that, the stat that our Gavin Hall had 9 3-pointers last night, and that actually ties a school record that was set back in 1997 by Jeff Morton. And that was against Palestine Wheatley. And so 9 threes. Congratulations to Gavin. And hope he can keep that marksmanship up as we continue in the season. And the boys are involved in a tournament at Brooklyn. Is that right? This week? Okay, senior high boys are coming up. Junior high boys are involved in a tournament right now. So we've got all kinds of basketball stuff going on. And so we wanted everybody to be mindful of that. We wanted to give a shout-out to Gavin for his performance last night. So at this time, we are excited to welcome Colonel Tim Norman, who is with the Paragould High School Junior ROTC and also works with our cross-country program.
Yep.
And Colonel Norman's going to talk about his role with the school. And we've got one of the I think we'd have to say one of the outstanding performances by Paragould High School students so far this year.
Yes.
In Starlin Edwards. And Starlin, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm excited to hear about everything that you have accomplished because what I've heard is just outstanding. So what I want to do at this point is just turn it over to Colonel Norman, and he can explain what he does with the cross-country program, the kids that are involved with it, and a little bit about your success this year.
All right. Well, this is kind of a building year for us this year, and we had 2 high school boys, and at state we brought all the 9th graders up. All the kids did real well. We was in the top 100, even with all the 9th graders. Starlin, she was 24th in state out of about 200 girls, and and then I think Orlando was going. He planned on being here tonight, but he couldn't make it. But he was helped me out over, Coach. He was in the top 50, but I'm not sure. I think 44th or something like that.
And you're referring to Orlando Oliver,
yes,
for
Orlando,
everybody that's watching out
Orlando
there.
Oliver. He's the only senior we had this year, and so next year I think we'll have a decent senior high program, and we're really focusing on our junior high program. A lot of people think that you have to be an ROTC to do cross country. Well, you don't. Cross country has nothing to do with ROTC. They just needed a coach, and I stepped in for a year, and I enjoy it. The kids enjoy it, and so we just do a lot of running.
How many kids do we have in the cross-country program?
We had 24.
Wow.
This year. We had 10 junior high boys from 7th grade to 9th grade. We had 3 junior high girls. Then our high school girls, we started out with about 3 or 4, and we had 2 finish. And then high school boys, same way.
What does a cross-country practice look like?
Well, run.
A lot.
Yes. Well, not always. We're fixing to start after Thanksgiving. We're going to start our off-season program and then start working on recruiting. You'll have some days where we're in the weight room working on strength. We'll have some days where we're working on speed drills. And then we'll have some days where we're working on some long distance. And it's kind of like Aaron said earlier, it starts at a younger age. I do a shout out for Monica Edwards, Starlin's mom. She's my helper this year, and she's going to continue to be. But one of the things we're looking at doing is we want to get it in the elementary programs and get a fun run and get them start running then, and just like we do with archery, and we bounce up, and that's what we would like to do. So when they come up to junior high, they're ready to go. We had 1 7th grader this year, and we'd like to have more.
So we've got a full junior high program and a senior high program. When these kids compete, what is the distance that they're running? What's the competition look like? What's that? Give us a flavor of that.
Senior high runs 3.1 miles. Junior high runs 1.55 miles. And so senior high does 2 laps that way. And now junior high does have a few races that may be 2 miles, but it's never over that. Kind of give you some time. The girl that won state this year, her time is usually in the low 17s, like 17:05, and you know, so that's pretty good. A lot of guys can't do that, and I don't remember what I think the girls may outrun the boys this year at state, didn't they? And they had a pretty good time, and you know, we had everybody. We kind of look at PRs. You know, I mean, we have some kids that start running their race at 5K, 3.1 miles. That may be, you know, 28, 29 minutes. Well, I tell them, hey, man, you got to get down to 20 minutes. You know, get somewhere in there. You know, and Starling's made it that way. You know, she's got down there. We've got, Garrett Brown. He set a new PR this year in low 20s. And, of course, Orlando. And but we're losing him, and he's a senior. So we're going to work it, and I think we'll be fine. Cross country is a little hard because it's individual running, and you know, so it's really up on the individual how well they do, and you know, and kind of like Aaron was saying earlier, a lot of times we are the parents of these kids because mom and dad both work, and we have kids come to us and say, hey, I'd like to do that, but I can't get there, and so what do? You know, well, you got to work for those kids, and I mean, I was raised here in Paragould, down at Children's Home, and so I know where these kids come from, and you know, and that's one thing we was talking a while ago with Monica Starling. One thing she has in her favor is her parents never give up on her, you know, and that's a lot of times these kids don't see mom and dad until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night,
Right.
and so we got to step out and we got to be that. Willing to help the kids.
Right. Talk a little bit about Starling. Starling, I'm just going to ask you, talk a little bit about, tell us what your how you got involved with cross country, what you like about it, and talk a little bit about some of your success that you had in competition this year.
I got started through cross country with track, and after track season, I just merged into cross country. Every meet this year, I've placed top 10, up until state, of course, which that's against girls probably 14 to 18, and I'm 15 myself. So it's not an easy sport, I would say. It's definitely harder considering it is an individual sport. You have to run for yourself, by yourself. No one's helping you do it. So it's very rewarding. Like, every meet I go home with a medal or a ribbon or a T-shirt. Like, everyone on the team's so supportive of everything we do. So it's just really fun.
And you had quite a bit of success at the region this year. Tell everybody about how that went.
It was at Joe Mack in Jonesboro this year. Valley View hosted it. I placed second place. I got beat by Valley View Senior, which she's also...
One state.
Yeah, she was top in state too. I was behind her the whole time, but she got me at the end. That's all I can really say on that.
But she graduates.
Yes.
And you're coming back for for a while.
Yeah.
You know, in cross country, one thing about it, you know, the starters come to me, be all upset. I didn't have a good run, and her PR may be 2020, and she runs a 22. And I just ask them, did you do the best you could do? And if it is, I mean, okay, I take it. I'm proud of you.
Yep.
I'm proud of you for doing the best you can. But runs are different every time, you know. And Starling knows it because she didn't run as good at state as she ran at conference, but she still placed top 24.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is, you know. And next year she's going to place in top 1.
There you go. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like. And hey, the thing about cross country, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter what the weather is. You guys are going to run unless we got lightning or something. But,
correct.
But it may be 20 degrees or 100 degrees.
Correct. And I think I've had one race. We was at Mountain Home, and we started having some lightning. Got too close, and of course their coach, he can run. I can't. But my days are over. But he ran out there and got everybody stopped, and that's the only. I think it was one race that we didn't get to do. But yeah, they run mud. It doesn't matter. You know.
Starling, do you have a favorite kind of weather you like to run in?
Ooh.
What's your ideal day? If you could say at the state track meet next year, if you could have the weather the way that you would want it, what would you want?
Well,
Same as it was this year.
well, the past 2 years at state, it's been raining, so obviously not that. Around like just warm, because if it's hot, it's hot. Cold, it's cold, but just warm's good.
60s, 70s.
60s,
Yeah.
yeah. And not raining, because then it makes the course muddy, because we run on dirt.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And you know, the summer humidity, and when it's, you know, 100 degrees outside and the humidity's 70% and all that would be pretty hard as a cross-country runner. Do you have any body that you look up to in the cross-country world that you say, I really want to try to be like that person, or is this just kind of your own thing?
I have one person. It's the girl who's won state the past couple of years. Her name's Olivia. She's a state commit. And I actually got to speak to her about recruiting and everything this year, so that was really nice. And I've seen her the past 2 years at state, but she's won state, I think, 4 times, and she's a senior. So that's every year she's competed. So it's probably her.
Yeah, and is that something that one of your goals is to, when you finish high school, perhaps accomplish a scholarship and go to a major school, major track school?
Definitely.
Is that what you're shooting for? That's cool. That's cool. I can remember when I was at school at the University of Arkansas, they've always had a great track program up there, and I had a friend named Joe Falcon who was like a cross-country All-American up there for a number of years, and Joe could run all day long. He was just unbelievable, but a great guy. And I was always amazed at the work ethic that they had, they put into it. And you mentioned something a few minutes ago that you have, you know, it's an individual sport, and if you're out there running, it's just you, and you don't have him running right behind you going, run harder, you know.
Full rules.
Yeah. How, and that's got to be probably a part of the reward of that, is that when you succeed and you beat your personal best and you even continue to improve, that you prove to yourself that, hey, I'm mentally tough, and I've my training's paid off, and you know, my coach has helped me, and that's got to make you feel good about yourself.
It's kind of a bittersweet, because the individual side, you know, you want your runners stacking in there pretty tight. And I thought last year we had a good chance on senior high boys. We had some senioritis that took place and lost a few. But you don't have to have top 3. But if you got 5, 6 guys in the top 12,
Right.
you got a real good chance.
Right.
So you got that team aspect. They take the top 7, and they take 5 of them, and that's going to be your team score. So Starling will win the first place trophy, but then the team may not place at all.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things we're working on. And
improve that depth. You've got to have the number of
Yes.
kids to you want to have 5 or 6, 7, 8 really good runners.
Correct. And we're going to have a race probably in off season, because I got a couple fast ones, and Starling's one of them. And whoever wins that race will be my captain. And she's probably sitting right next to me right now. But and she does a great job of getting the guys. And she calls them and says, "Hey, I'm going to work out. You want to come up?" And most of them say, "I don't like to run. I don't want to do that." You know. So, but you know, she does. She leads them out there, and so I think we're going to be in good shape next year. But
Do we keep up with school records in cross country? Have we got that? Somebody asked about that.
I think Starling's got the girls, and Andrew Pantoja would probably, in the time I've been there, you know, he ran a 15 high 15s, you know, and I took over from right there about 2018 is when I took it, and you know, I've loved it, and just the kids are fun. We go down, we make a big event out of state. We do that, you know, let them have some fun.
Yeah.
You know, because some of these kids don't ever leave.
Right.
And I remember taking some kids to Shiloh, and it was the first time the kid left Paragould, first time the kid left Arkansas, and the first time the kid ever ate out and ate at McDonald's. and he was a senior.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but
It's fascinating
yeah,
because,
I
you know,
give it back to Starling. Man, she's a star up here, not me.
you know, what was fascinating is I mentioned the school record because one of the first shows that we did this year, we brought in Alvin Arnold, and Alvin he graduated in 1957 and still holds most of the boys' track records.
Dog. Yeah.
And ran a sub 10 or a 9.9 100-yard dash back in those days, which was, you know,
Unreal.
Unbelievable. And, you know, he sat up here and just mesmerized Brad and myself for about 15 minutes. And I told him, I said, I had 6 or 8 questions for you, and I didn't even get to any of them. We were sitting here and just kind of in awe of what he was talking about. And, but, you know, and I think it goes back to, he talked about this, the self-discipline and the attitude and the competitiveness that it takes to be good at track. And that's what's so impressive about what you've accomplished and what you're doing. And you have certainly been one of the stars of the school year so far in your accomplishments and what you've done. And it's a great story. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before I ask you what your favorite running shoes are?
No.
And you're a Nike girl, right?
Yes.
Nike. That was one of my questions. And that's another great question. And I actually asked Mr. Arnold this, and I said, the equipment. I said, you know, the running shoes of 40 years ago are a little different than they are today, and I'm sure it's the same way in cross country. I mean, you'll
see kids running in spikes. But now this next year we're going to do things a little different. We're going to kind of lean toward a cheerleader style, and we're going to get some windsuits, and we want some actually running, you know, some spike cross country running shoes. I make them a little bit different, and that way they can get a little grip. You can change them up a little bit. And so we're definitely wanting to do that, and we're going to reach out for some support, I'm sure. And you know, the fun stuff, yes, for Starling, it's funny going to some of these meets because you have college recruiters coming up to her, and I said, yeah, you did a great job. You know, I'd like to give you my card and stuff, and she goes, I'm 10th grade. Oh, never mind, they'll leave.
Well, I'll tell you, some of these college recruiters are recruiting kids younger and younger and younger, and you have to believe that she's already got the attention of some folks with what she's accomplished, without a doubt. So, but you guys, this is just an awesome I appreciate you guys taking the time to come visit with us, and it's a great insight because we've obviously spent a lot of time on football and basketball and baseball and volleyball, but this is a great insight into another important and another valuable program that the school has. A lot of people may not know about.
Correct, and that if you're out there listening, if you got a kid from 7th grade to senior, and 6th grade.
6th grade, yeah.
6th grade, that's right, Coach.
Yeah.
6th grade, if you start right now at 6th grade, when they come over to 7th grade, we want them. And, I mean, we're not going to kill anybody. And we haven't yet, anyhow. They've about killed me a few times.
We know what's really going to be fun the next 2 years is to see how much she progresses and the kind of records that she can set. And the other thing is that what I think is going to be fun to watch is Starling's going to motivate somebody who's really young that has said, you know, nobody's ever talked about cross country and track and all that, and that's something that I want to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to break any bubbles, but I tell you what, she better get some good records in there because she's got a young sibling that's coming up behind her.
There we go. That's what, you know, that may like to take a shot at some of that.
Well,
so.
yeah, she does, don't she, Starling? She's going to go after her, but yeah, which is great. I mean, I tell you what, you know, all the kids that we have, I mean, we have a lot of fun with them. Some of them, you know, you got to reach in your pocket to help them out a little bit, but you know, and we'll do that. We'll do whatever it takes, but the kids are great, and I mean, I have a blast with it. So I just love the kids being with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All you girl.
Well, Colonel Tim Norman, thanks for the time. Starling, thank you for coming to join us this evening. It's a great story. Congratulations on your success. Keep working hard. And let's see, Amy has got a little info for me here. Let's see, your junior high boys will be playing Harding Academy tonight in the BB Invitational Tournament. If you'd like to watch it, it will be live streamed on BB High School's YouTube channel, and the game time is 7:45. So if you're out there watching, we wanted to make a point for that. And then again, tomorrow evening, we've got junior high girls basketball and senior high on Friday night. So, and just a heads up to everybody, our game plan is to do this particular show every 2 weeks on Wednesday night until we reach a Christmas break, and we'll take a little time off, and we'll be back with you. So look forward to joining us here on Wednesdays from 1812 Pizza in downtown Paragould. If you get a chance, come join us. It's a lot of fun. We got some folks in here. We have a great time. It's a great opportunity for